Hello, YouTube. Welcome to the finale of the first project or season one of just looking at how much I spent on groceries. Okay, so just to recap a little bit, this first project. It's a 4 week project. I shop exclusively, if I can, at Hy-Vee, and usually buy the most expensive items. So, for example, like for milk, I buy organic milk. For eggs, I buy organic egg if they have it, and basically that. And I record how much I spend on groceries or food every single day. You know, basically, gathered everything into a single table, as you can see here. So it's from day 0 to day 27, so exactly 4 weeks. Now the project officially ended this past Tuesday, but I did slack off a little bit. Remember, like in my first or second video, I was like talking about see how long I can last doing this every single day, because I tend to give up a lot. But overall, I mean, even though I did slack off a little bit, I think overall I still made more than half of the videos, or I made the videos more than half of the 28 days. So this is a little achievement for me, for myself. And after Tuesday, I tried to decompress a little bit. That's why I didn't really make any videos after that. And I also didn't really try to start like the project number 2 or season 2 of this whole YouTube shit. But I'm going to start season 2 this week. Basically just buying all the cheap stuff from not just Hy-Vee, but aldi, whatever food is on sale among the 3 stores: Hy-Vee, aldi, or faraway. So that's the next season. So you can look forward to that. So right, so let's take a look. Let's take a look. This is like a recap. This is a finale. Let's look at the whole data and see what we can find. Again, buying everything from Hy-Vee, as I explained before. So first of all, how much total did I spend? Both on groceries and also on food, because I sometimes I mean a lot of times actually, me and my wife, we did go out to buy some food. Doesn't matter if it's fast food or a restaurant, but as long as it's not cooked by me or by my wife, that counts as trash food, unnecessary spending. So, but how much did we spend in total? Well, here's a number: $13.25 or 26 cents, if you want to round it up, which is I'll tell you this. One of the main reasons I started this project is because the month prior to I start doing this project, I thought I was only spending like probably $500 on food. I couldn't imagine I would have spent more than $1,000. But every month I pay the bills. In addition to my rent from my credit card, it's always like $14, $15, and all that. And I was just like puzzled, because I couldn't understand like where I could spend all these money, and which is strange, because if you think about it, every day you buy this and buy that, but these are like itemized spending, and each little itemized spending is only like $10, $5, and all that. And it's really hard to imagine that all of these little spending can add up to over sometimes over $1,500. So this $1,325 total spending, is it a bit more than what I expected? Yeah, a little bit. But is it really that bad? I don't think so. Compared to my my pattern of spending for the last 6 months. Each month is about $1,500. I don't know why I keep saying $15, but $1,500. So but I think by doing this project, subconsciously, I also try to save money. So basically, I was able to spend less than $1,500 for the past month, for the past 28 days. It's only $1,325, which I think is pretty good. And that's including spending more money on unnecessary food spending than actually buying groceries, which I'm going to show you later. So that's a total spending. And how much did I spend on the trash food, or meaning fast food? Stopping by McDonald's in the morning to get a egg sandwich when I can just fry up an egg at home. Going to a restaurant because I work late that day, and then I just didn't feel like cooking. So how much was that? Well, that was this number right here, $842. Okay. So more than half of my spending on food is actually not grocery shopping. It's buying pre-made food, or Aldi's. So you can imagine if I really try to save money, if I'm in one of those desperate situations that I can't afford eating out, and I have to really control myself, then you can potentially see that it can really cut down the expense down to not necessarily the entirety of 842, because sometimes you go out and buy food that basically means you're saving money from buying groceries, because you're not buying groceries. But remember, buying groceries is always much cheaper than buying whatever fast food. Doesn't matter if it's restaurant or fast food. Fast food is still more expensive, much more expensive than cook on your own. So but still, even if I can't save $842, I probably can save another $500. So that can probably bring down the total expense down to less than $800, or even less $700, which I think is pretty impressive. Anyways, so that's a trash food total. Now, in terms of average daily cost, buying groceries. No, sorry. So this is still the total spending per day, which is about less than $50, which I think is pretty impressive. I think at one point in time, when I was doing the study, it was over $50 per day. But really, when it comes down to it, it's $47. But mind you, about 3 weeks into doing this project, I stopped eating 3 meals a day. So that is some sort of a bias. Definitely introduced some bias to this project. So I just for the sake of the project, we can just call it $50 per day. Okay. So that's that. And then the trash food is more than half. Again, $30 per day. Okay. Standard deviation is pretty wild, for both the total spending, and for the trash food spending. One is $21, the other is $24 for average of $30. So that's wild, right? And I think the reason is that it's if on a particular day you don't go out and buy food, then it's zero. But as soon as you go out, especially going to a restaurant, that can become very, very expensive. Look at this. Day 4, I spent $66, $82 one day, $69, $70. Okay, so it just shows you that eating out again is very expensive, and if you want to save money, you should not eat out, or I should not eat out. But and again, this the goal of this project is not to show you how much money you can save. The goal of the project is to give you a realistic reflection of how an average American family spend on food, or how much they spend on food, even for a 2 household member family, such as me and my wife. Right. So that's the summary of of the spending. Okay, and then I made some graph. So this thing here is the total expense. Again, a lot of variation. The meat cost and the trash food. So, you know, it's a lot of variation. Now, I think it might be interesting to just look at. Maybe it's interesting just to look at how much does the meat cost, and comparing different type of meat, right? So there's always a conception or maybe misconception, I don't know, that meat can be more expensive than vegetables, which I find is as the more I record these data, the less confident I am about that conception, because I think fruit, vegetables can add up to quite a lot of cost, but let's see like how much meat really costs. So let's get rid of this table, move it here, let's move it here, and let's move this here. So I think the first thing I can do, maybe just do this. So start some like new columns: seafood, pork, chicken, and beef. Okay, so let's compare which one is the most expensive type of meat. So seafood, pork, let's just copy and paste each one to this column. Chicken, beef. Remember, the way I do cooking is to do a rotation. So day one is seafood, or the next cooking would be pork, the next cooking would be chicken, and after that would be beef, and then go back to seafood. So that's usually how I do things. 7.97, 20.01, but that's a combination of pork and chicken, so maybe we can just divide it up. 10 to 10, chicken again. I don't know why I bought that chicken again. Beef 17, $7. About another $13 of seafood. Pork is 15, and another pork is 8. Okay. So let's add everything up. So we can do, let's do like a sum.